Baby, let's roll it. Yeah, it's been forever. But we've already done our preamble. Let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Are you ready to skydive into this podcast?
Totally.
All right, and welcome to the Pagey Train. Welcome back after a long rest. It has been 7 weeks, but today I'd like to ignite the fire of the Pagey Train once again and invite my guest and show my guest, Maria Tran, actor, action star extraordinaire. Welcome to the show.
Man, glad to be on this show and out and about, and here I am. Yay.
Yeah, well, look, I couldn't think of a better way to open the Pagey Train again without Maria Tran. I've been planning this for such a long time. Such a long time. No, but once again, just a moment of indulgence. Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. But just to tell people, who is Maria Tran? Where's she from? People are looking at you right now on the podcast going, I know this bird.
Hopefully for the right reasons.
Hopefully for the right reasons. Look, Fat Pizza's coming out. It's out.
Yes.
Is it out?
Yes, it's my episode was on last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Susie's my character on
Susie.
Fat Pizza, the deliverer, one of the deliverers.
Oh, look, I think Fat Pizza is one of those staple diets for Australian content. It's definitely done the rounds. Like, I remember watching it years and years ago, and still watch it up to today. So yeah, congratulations on a great show. And by the way, what's it like working with Paulie?
Oh man, it's such a small crew.
Mm.
It's like a team of 4, and he knows all the shots. He knows the beats, and he knows the timing. And when watching him work on set, you kind of go, you know what? Indie filmmakers rock.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, indie filmmaking is the staple diet to making stuff like the way he does it. Just fast and furious work. Mm.
Yeah, well, this is one of the ways you've lit the world on fire. Let's talk about a few others. You've just recently come out of the back end of doing a feature film.
Yes.
Echo 8.
Yes. Post-production, which has been quite tricky, but we're getting there.
Feature-length post-production. I got goosebumps just talking about it. That is a commitment.
Yes. You know what? When you make short films, you're like, yeah, you just shoot it over 2 days and that's it. For feature, it started before COVID and it just ended recently, so it was like 2 years. And having to wait in between for moments to just shoot was just quite of a headache. But once you finally got everything...
Yeah, the COVID rhythm is a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah.
The COVID rhythm, you get... It's a shock to start with, and then you go, well, then you end up with a can-do attitude. Then you go through all of the, formalities that COVID invites, from hand sanitizer to masks to, check-ins to distance, how many people you have on set, is the venue okay with that? There's so much bureaucracy involved in it. But there's a bit of a silver lining to it all, I reckon. I think it's taught us to be more astute, it's taught us to be more calculative, more planning. And these sort of things have fallen away from filmmaking since the digital revolution. So I think COVID's kind of given us all a bit of a kick in the balls and the proverbial balls, if you will, and told us, well, you can organise things properly under duress. So that's the silver lining I've got for it.
100%.
Yeah. But what is... so you wrote and directed?
No, Elizabeth H. Vu. She pretty much writes a lot of our stuff, only because she does it very quickly. And especially working with me, I'll be like, yeah, I've only got one location, 4 actors, lots of action. There's a garage here, there's indoor, there's a kitchen, just write something. And she magically does it in 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is quite good. Oh, you've added a couple of scenes here and there because it's a bit boring. It's just indoors. And we worked with that. So, but then it started growing as we were editing and filming it. We're like, oh, we need more of this and we need a bit more of that. And then other people wanted to join in. So we started writing scenes. And you've got a little bit of a voice.
Yes, I'm in this movie, don't I? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You commissioned me to do a VO.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
What was that one? That was the newsreader.
Yes.
I did a newsreader for you.
That's right.
It's not my first newsreader one, by the way.
It's not your first?
No, I've done a few newsreader ones.
You've got your own setup VO reel happening, Ross. That's part of your thing that you do.
It is a thing. I do miss doing more commercial work with it though. I do miss it. I used to do commercials and promos for films, man. Promos for films is my favourite. But look, hey, I still get to do the Made in the West VO. So, Made in the West is now open for submissions. You guys have heard it to a drone for the last 10 years. It's not that bad. Look, I look back at VOs I did back in the early 2010s, and I feel like such a child when I listen to it. Like I go, that's so innocent. It's awful, but it's so innocent. Now I'm like, just I'm like Krusty the Clown trying to program an evil doll. They don't get to push record straight away. But
I'm gonna get into the character first.
yeah. I need to. How do I reference this? What is my go-to? But Echo 8. It's funny you mentioned though. You were talking about locations to write something. Like a lot of people go write a script and go, now I'm going to go make this movie. And I advise people all the time. I go, well, consider what's in your reach. The locations, the people. And that's great that you go to a writer and go, yeah, I've got these locations on the ready and I've got this many people and I need an action film. Yeah. Go.
And the writer's also my sister, so I can force her to do it. Because she actually egged me on. She was like, if you don't make a feature, you're like, whatever. And I was like, what do you mean? You've always made short films, Maria. You got to step up. And she kept on egging me. I'm like, right, you're egging me now? You know what? You're going to write it. She's like, I'm going to write it. Yeah, because you're egging me to make it. I need a script. And we just kept on egging each other, so we ended up making a film.
It's called a measure. I just called you to measure. You measured me, now I'm measuring you.
That's right. So.
Oh, look, okay, so, it's a action film. What can you give away about it? What's it about?
You know what? When I looked at it, it was actually a family story, but it just had a lot of action. and it's good though, because I thought to myself, this is how do I pitch this? It's like a family drama. Is it an action? But then it's kind of cool that it's a refugee migrant story with the undertone of lots of action, lots of the underbelly of Cabramatta emerging out, and it's a bit of a cat and mouse kind of psychological thriller.
Yeah, great.
With that as well. So
look, I got to see a lot of stills online. It looks fantastic. From the outside looking in, it looks amazing. I can't wait to see this film.
Yeah, and the great thing was, like, we had such a good team. Like, we had Adam who came on board, he's always upping the scale. He'd be like, I'm going to grade it like this. And he just turns it into a different film. We're like, that looks more expensive. He goes,
yeah. And all I had to do was move it like that.
Yeah.
I've totally changed the perspective.
Yeah, but we've got so many great people who just came on board to volunteer. And for me, I look back, I'm like, this is like a no budgeter, and then everyone's coming in to chip either their skills, their talent as an actor, a somewhat bit performer here and there, someone behind the scenes, and we appreciate every effort, and we want it to be something that really hits the mark with mainstream, saying, hey, look, we made it with nothing, and look at this, look what we've got out here.
Yeah. I've turned a shoestring into a 19th century carousel. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right.
Here it is. No, it was absolutely sterling effort. Like, being in post production on that as well, because it's your baby. Because you're obviously acting in it as well. Yeah. And Takashi, he's in this film.
Yes, as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, sorry.
We always love recycling people. I don't know if you noticed.
That's what we do in the film business, man. You go, this person's good for that. And you see it all the time. I was actually watching Seinfeld last night, right? And you see how people are typecast, because I watched about 4 episodes, and there was, how you always have the background sort of the under 6 liners. You know how you got your main characters, but there's always someone in a production that has under 6 lines. They've either got 1 line or 3 lines, somewhere in there. They're usually referred to as under 6s, right? And some of these under 6 actors are in films. Like I saw, I don't know if you remember the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis, right? And there's the guy who's looking through the telescope, and he discovers the meteorite. Right. And his wife comes in and goes, do I look like Carl Slave? And he's like, can you just go get that book with my phone numbers in it about, the NASA guys? Go get the book. And she's like, and he's like, go get the book. And forwards later, and then he's like, I want to name the comet after my wife. She's a life-sucking bitch, of which there is no escape, right? But Dottie, Dolores, I think. Dolores, is that right? She's in Seinfeld as a haggy wife. And I'm like, yes. And I said to Misty, I go, remember Armageddon? She's the naggy wife. He's like, she's a naggy wife. And then another episode happened. I'm like, that person's in this film doing this. And it's just amazing how you just do recycle that. Yeah. I think that's where typecasting kind of comes into it. Do you get typecast? Yeah.
I mean, what I like is, like, sometimes when you meet people, you're like, what? Even this happens to you. Okay. So when I first met you, I'm like, oh, he's got this voice thing. He does martial arts. He knows weapon. Like, what else does he not know? You know? And then I'm like, what if he was this character? So that's what I love, like working with people who haven't really dabbled into it, and then see them kind of come showcase like this character that no one's seen before. That's exciting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that film. Or just to let our listeners and viewers know, we're talking about a film called Operation Kung Flu, where I get to be a bad guy and you're the good guy, and not too many spoilers. There's a fight that ensues at the end between me and you. But the thing that I learned on that was that some of us have hidden foundations. Because the foundations that I brought to that film had been seeded in me for 20 years, you know, and to understand the character, and then to have the audacity to go, hey Maria, I think the character's more like this. I don't want to overstep my bounds. I'm like, this is your thing. I'm not being a douche here, but I just think this may be a good tweak. And you're like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then other ideas I'd put in, you go, nah, Ross, I don't like that bit. I want you to do it this way. And having that collaborative experience, and then having those fires lit in you was one of the most amazing experiences I've had in a long time.
And like what we got in the can, like, could you believe it? I look back, I'm like, whoa, we only shot that how many hours, and we got all of that, a fight scene, the dramatic stuff,
multiple fight scenes. We got multiple fight cuts in there. Yeah,
and it was so cool to see you sort of like have all these other experiences with your movement, your martial arts, and be able to portray that on camera as well. So that was really good, because usually people have to have a lot of training, but for you kind of just picked it up and then just kept on tweaking it.
Well, there was one move I couldn't figure out though. It was the head plunging move. I was trying to do this head plunging move and I couldn't get the distance right on screen. Like I got the move right, but I couldn't capture it with you in the frame. And then your fight choreographer's like, oh, now look, we've got it. Okay, we don't need to shoot it a fourth time, Ross. I know you're dedicated, but we've got it.
Yeah, it's whatever's in the can's in the can. You don't have to literally headbutt or get that time.
Yeah, we got other shots to do, man, and it's satisfactory. The other stuff you've done is cool. This is a little bit mediocre. I can tie that in and make it look cool. Don't worry.
That's right.
And I was like, okay, all right, that makes me feel better. I can, if you just make me look good.
Well, we did. Everyone, like, the amount of feedback I had internationally, people thought that you were, one of these old school veteran like actors that we brought back. Like you're in the league of the Segals and the Richard Nortons and stuff like that. And we're like, actually,
that's too much. Thank you very much.
This is his first time doing this, but it's great. You fit the role.
Yeah, totally. I felt really natural doing it. And working with someone else doing martial arts really took me back to when I was sparring years and years ago. It's a different, like, I remember you had to iron out the creases in me though, because I was fighting you. Yeah. And you're like, no, it's not you have to do fighting for film, Ross. You're fighting me. Stop fighting me. I'm like, oh, okay. You got to kink your elbows a little bit more. You got to be a bit more deliberate in your actions. You're not. Remember, we're trying to shoot this. You're not trying to kill me. I was like, oh, don't kill the director. Got it. Right. I'll write that down. Don't kill the director. Got it. All right. What do we do next? Yeah, no, you were a fantastic teacher. Absolutely.
But hey, you were great. Then the comedy, oh man, just love it. Like I love once we edit it and put all the helicopters in and every moment. Because when I was playing it back to people and they watched it, it's like every single thing you did as your character was a crack up. It was a serious crack up. As much as you were the bad guy, but the bad guy was so good to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But at least, I don't want to give too much away, but Ronald gets reformed in the end.
That's right.
Ronald finds peace and he finds conductivity. Oh, my chair just broke. He finds conductivity with the rest of the world. But speaking of the rest of the world, you also did a film recently called Obsidian.
Yes.
So that's a short. I've seen little bits and pieces of it. I think I saw pieces where Takashi's like a time traveler or something like that. Have I given too much away?
No, it's fine. Yep. He's sort of like a man from another time, another place, comes back and tries to fix an issue. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one looked pretty cool. One looked pretty cool. So, did you write that one?
That one was Elizabeth again.
That's Elizabeth again?
Takashi initially said, let's write it. And then we kind of smashed our heads together and we came up with stuff and we're like, nah, it's not working out. We need a writer. Otherwise, because when it comes to writing, all the elements have to flow. Otherwise, there's holes here, there's holes there. And we're like, you know what? Maybe someone who does this all the time might have a better idea. So we gave her all these bits and bobs of paper, and then she comes back and here's your script. I'm like, oh wow, this is great. Let's do this.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream. Like, because I do all the palm cards, right? So when I do a story, like I've got a few on the boil at the moment, a couple of gangster films and like a sci-fi, Inception idea where it's a consciousness on top of a consciousness on top of a consciousness. And when I write these things, I do them in like palm cards. So I don't actually write the dialogue or anything like that. I just do all the scenes and I lay them out. I'm on this table actually. I lay them out. I go, okay, so which order do these happen in? So that happens there, that happens there, that happens there. And then I go, okay, and then I stick it on the wall over there. And I go, okay, character one, this is what they say. And I start making them talk. But the hardest bridge I have is not just, doing the scaffolding of the story. Love that bit.
Yeah. The
writing of action is so time-consuming and difficult and frustrating. And it takes a long time to learn the temperament to get through action. I love writing dialogue. If you can make people talk, I can write some badass lines of something to say to someone before you kick them in the head. But my weakness is definitely in dialogue. My weakness is writing for women, writing women's characters. So when I have women characters, I give them to women and go, does this seem real? Because I have no idea.
You've got Misty, so I'm sure she'll give.
She
her
goes
feedback.
She goes, she's what's the word? Relentless. my producer's not just Misty, and big shout out to Jay and Misty, by the way. They are relentless with me. Then they should be. I argue a lot. I'm sometimes difficult to deal with. So thank you guys. Thank you very much. They give me a lot of time, and they're delicate. Very delicate with me. I'm fragile.
You look it.
But yeah, that writing process though, doing that, just getting that blinking cursor, like that's another skill. But the one really cool thing I figured out today, I had to describe some production roles to people because I've got a couple of interns on at the moment for Made in the West and graphic designers and producers and this sort of thing. And I was talking about, like, I was trying to describe to an associate producer what you've got to do. And there's something clicked in me when I was giving this instruction. I'll go, even though an editor is an introverted person and they put a story together, they take blocks of image that's synchronized with sound or asynchronous in some situations, but nonetheless, they put this data together and they tell a story. A cinematographer will show up on a site and go, all right, so I need to frame it like this, and I need that shot to marry that shot. And so they're thinking about a story. A writer will go, okay, so I'm in this room. How do I logically get out of this room? And I found the correlation. And then for me, it was a really obvious moment. We all understand how content works. Now, like an editor may not be able to use a camera, but they know how content works. A cinematographer may not be the best editor, but they know how content works. A writer may not be able to pick up a camera or do any editing, but they know how content works. And that's the relationship we all have. Some of us are those slashers that we like to dive into everything possible. But, for the general norm, I think that's the commonality. That's the common denominator. Because we're all, not only storytellers, but have an understanding of storytelling. And I think that's the horse that drives the cart.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the epiphany I had. I had to keep it all buttoned down as well because I'm like, okay, keep on track. That's a fantastic idea. Oh yeah, so you need to do a spreadsheet, right? And you got to go sort out who your talent are, sort out who your crew are, and put them in a place and make sure that the technical stuff works.
That's right.
Basic producing. But with all this in tow, Echo 8, Obsidian, your amazing dossier of filmmaking from being on television, entering film festivals around the world. You've pulled the pin on an idea and you're moving to the United States.
Yes.
Newsflash, if you don't know, kids.
Yes.
You've told your parents, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
If they don't know, they know now.
Yeah. So I'm moving in 3 weeks, so that's quite exciting. I don't know, I kind of feel like, is it a move or is it a holiday? I kind of go, if I say it's a holiday, if things don't work out, I can always come back home. So, but I am sort of packing most of my gear into my luggage. I don't really need much clothes. I usually wear the same black clothes anyway, but equipment's important because I'm a filmmaker. I'm hoping to make docos or films along the way. So that's my priority.
Well, I think all directors and all lead actors all own a leather jacket. And they all own black jeans.
That's right.
And they all own black band shirts. And, you know, they may wear some colour, like, for instance, maybe a scarf with a bit of colour.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Very minimal.
Yeah, so I do the hats with the colour. Or maybe the shirt front with the colour. You know, black pants, black shirt, black hat.
Filmmakers think alike.
Yeah. I didn't put my sunnies on. I usually do the reflective, you know, like, hey, I'm cool, man. Look at me, I'm cool. No, not really. I can't back that up. Well, my mum used to say I was cool.
Well, whatever mum says counts.
Absolutely. But moving to the States, what a move. Okay, so, and by the way, if you want to go check it out, guys, Phoenix Eye Productions is your company. Mm-hmm. So you're leaving the reins to your management team.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be daunting because I'm going through not a similar process, but a similar setup process at the moment. You're like 2 moves ahead of where I'm like looking towards, right?
Not really. I think it's just more once you do it, and then you have to chase it and make sure things are ironed out. But like, to be honest, like your skill set's my skill. It's pretty much the same. Like, it's just that piece of paper to get it, you know, company. But to be honest, like it comes down to what types of people you pull together. Like, you know, made in the West, you guys have such a huge amount of people that connect, and that's the reason why we do what we do, but also one of our purpose of why we're here, right? So, but to be honest, yeah, I am leaving it to the next gen of Phoenix Eyes. You know what I love? I love the fact that I'm able to. I did the CyberConnect project, which was my first time where I stepped back and I did not make films. They made films.
It's a hard thing to do.
So they were the ones who were directing, producing, you know, and I told them, look, you guys need to take on these roles. It's just not me, because if I'm gone, I want you guys to be the next gen, you know, and when I come back, I want you guys to do projects, and I can do projects with you guys, your projects as well. So
that's the big part of it, Ryan. Because like I remember there was a time in Still Searching Productions and Made in the West, and if you remove me and other people from it, it just falls apart. So I realised the longevity of it is actually to train people to do what you do. And it's a big lesson to learn as a filmmaker, because we're usually so driven to go, well, I need to learn how to do martial arts. I need to learn how to do voice coaching. I need to learn how to direct. I need to learn how to edit. I need to learn how to shoot. And every one of those things individually on their own merits is extremely complicated. So when you're trying to learn a suite of things, it's a lot of complicated ideas that mesh into each other. Very rarely do you go, at any point during that adolescent filmmaking learning experience, do you go, can someone do what I do? It's like it's a very mature way of looking at things.
It makes it easier, because when even like on Operation Kung Flu, so when I was on that, I was like, okay, I know the fight stuff, but I can't remember everything because I'm trying to remember all these other things. Therese, can you be in charge as a fight supervisor to know what fights we're doing, what moves we have, do we have the previews? She got it all done, you know, and she was like, even for her, she was like, yeah, I didn't think that I had this capability. I'm like, you do. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, but you're organized and you can lead and you look after your people. That's the fundamentals. And that's
she certainly does. Yeah.
But
I had that experience with her.
Everyone on Phoenix Eye, I'm always making sure that they know that, you know, it's not just you with your skill sets as a filmmaker.
Big shout out to Therese, by the way.
Yeah. But you as a human being, how do you relate to each other? How do you make people feel good to be a part of something? You know, I have to admit, when I first delved into Operation Kung Flu, you know, what was written on the script, I had a lot of feedback. People saying, oh, I don't know if you should be doing this. It sounds really bad.
It was risky as well. It's a risky script.
And then once we made it, we go, oh, we get it. We totally get it.
Because you could get a lot of, on the surface, you get a lot of blowback from that, like from multiple sectors of society.
For sure.
Because you're commenting on racism, you know, you go, well, what's the anti-racism motion that's going to be set against my film? That's probably going to be the biggest headwind you're going to run. You know, all these headwinds that you look at, you go. But when I read it, I just laughed my ass off. I was like, this is hilarious.
But you know what was funny? It got a feature on The Australian.
Yeah, I saw that.
But the
I remember I kept texting you like, man, you got to turn on ABC right now. You're on the telly. Yeah.
But the comments that came in from it was quite hilarious, because there was people who thought that it was like the Chinese government has like put a lot of money into propaganda or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, we're just filmmakers from Western Sydney making something that looks quite polished, you know. But thank you, you know.
I don't know. I could take some of that Chinese propaganda money. Like, can I build a studio out of it? Well, like, what are the rates like?
Yeah,
can we look at that? Well, if it's okay for politicians, why can't it be okay for filmmakers? Just kidding. It's allegedly. I haven't pointed any fingers and mentioned any names, but you all know who you are. No, no, but certainly, like, I can see how that comes off. But very well produced. Very well directed, and everyone just hit the right triggers. I had another experience I had on working on your set. It was like one of the things that I wanted to observe was another director, because when you're directing all the time, you don't see other directors and how they work.
Yeah,
you just get the feedback. People go, "You're great, man. You're so nice to work with," and you tell it how it is, but you don't you sort of throw punches, but you're okay, like you make me okay with accepting criticism. These sort of things. And when I was on your film set, that's the same experience I had. So I didn't get any insight in that way. I'm like, she's really cool. I'm really cool. This is very cool. I got don't get me wrong, I got insight in other ways, but I was trying to hope for like, is she? Because you're a real collaborator. Like, you ask your team, what do you think about this? And will this work? Go to the cinematographer. Can that shot be achieved? Right, great. How are you going with the audio? Great. You're just all over it, and that's and I don't mean that from a micromanaging way. I mean, like, oh no, if you're set, you're set. Let's go. And I that's the experience that I try to give people on set, like, because you're trying to have fun.
Yeah,
you're trying to have fun, right?
Yeah, I think film processes should be fun. I think there's a lot of, I find that even when I was overseas working on big budget films, it's not fun. I'm like, what's with all the money, and then everyone's all like kind of snooty and kind of don't want to solve problems, but make it such a big problem it can't be solved. And I find that the indie stuff is where, because you've got so little, everyone really wants to maximize, the resources. But because, there's not a lot of resources, everyone wants to enjoy and learn. You know, so from Operation Kung Flu, we had a bunch of newcomers, like Matthew, who's directed his first film.
Man, you launched that guy right off. Like, you just lit a fire on him.
I remember he was just like, Maria, I always wanted to make a film. Like, why not?
Why not?
Make a film? He's like, because I don't think I'm ready for it. I'm like, why not?
No one's ever ready, bro.
And then we sat down and jammed, and then he got the script, and then you go, okay, you know what? Oh, but I don't have the resources. I'm like, look here, I've got all these cameras.
What do you mean you don't have the resources? You know people with the resources, man.
So let's do it. And then
you're just afraid to ask.
Yeah,
that's the problem. We're not talking about a logistical issue. We're talking about an emotional one.
So yeah, he made it. He's like, I can't believe I did. I'm like, look, you can.
It's the biggest hurdle. Yeah. It's the emotional hurdle.
Yeah, but once they get over that, they realize, oh man, this is just the start. And that's the thing. The more people who feel like they can make films, because there are groups out there that will help them. There's collectives out there that will help them.
Totally. I did. I had one of my clients at the moment. A big shout to Amelia. Actually, I've had her on the show before. Fantastic actress. Lovely person. She sent me. She put it out online, going, look, I've made this short film on my phone, and there's 10 seconds of audio that's totally shit. Can someone help? I'm like, yeah, sling it to me. 10 seconds? Right, sling it to me. She goes, what do you want for it? I go, I don't know, case of beer? How's that sound? She goes, oh, what's it worth? I said, it's probably worth about $300. But, I'll do it for a case of beer, She's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah, it's your film. If no one fixes it, what are you going to do with it? She's going, well, nothing. I said, well, let me fix your film. Let me help you fix it. And I made that for her, and then we were talking later, and then she had written this script, and I remember saying to her, just go out there and do it, man. There's nothing stopping you being a director. There's nothing stopping you getting out there. And hey, you got any sound issues? Sling it my way, man. A couple of months later, she goes, hey, do you want to be, a Foley artist and sound, chief sound designer on, my web series, which is a feature length worth of content. That I've developed the entire soundscape. It wasn't a naked soundscape, but it required each voice to be EQ'd, and required a room tone, and then like a building behind it. So it required all of that. And I just like slinging her back the content, because when you don't have a soundscape and you don't have a color correction on your film, sometimes it can be daunting as a director. It's like, is it gonna look like that?
I get that all the time. I get the footage. I'm like, what is this? Is it gonna reach the end?
It looks a bit flat. Like, is it gonna look like that? We haven't done a color correction yet. Yeah. Well, what about the sound? Like, it sounds a bit weird. What's with the sound, man? Oh no, we got a sound guy. He's gonna sort that out. You'll be fine. And then you see the end product, and then it's like fully color corrected, fully audio mastered, and you're like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, sound is so huge. And
massive.
The look of it, oh gosh, yeah.
Oh man, I've done some interesting. I thought I'd do some research as I did these projects, as these Foley projects, because when I do edits for people, like you might have a synchronized clip, and you might do, when you got your timeline, you got all your edit breaks where you've either imposed two clips together, or you've created a cut and then you've shortened some time and then bunked them together, right? So you've got the timeline, you've got your linear timeline, and that would take, if you count all your cuts, you might have like in a 10-minute film, you might have about 800 of them, right? And I counted the sound edits.
Yeah.
You want a trippy statistic, right?
Yeah.
It's like 2,000 of them. Yeah. So I worked out for every 1,000 edits you have in a visual presentation, it's going to be followed by 1,500 to 2,000 audio edits behind it.
Oh yeah.
So when you do because people think about editing visually, right? You go, it needs to look like this, and then it's going to be color corrected this way. It's going to have this texture, and this person's going to say that, and this person's going to say that, and you go, but none of that conversation had any sound consideration in it whatsoever.
Yeah, but sound, like, even for me when I was editing like Operation Kung Flu, even a punch had like 4 or 5 bits of like sound to make it sound a certain way. Yeah, to EQ a
punch. Gosh, how many EQ? How many edits on one singular punch would you EQ?
What's EQ?
Like equalize. So you go, all right, so here's the impact, and then I'll do that balance of volume there, that balance of volume there, that balance of volume there, bunch that together.
And then there's also different textures of the sound effects you put on, and then every single punch has to have a different sound, not the same type of. It was just like.
Yeah, so because then you need to invite variety into your soundscape.
Exactly. Otherwise, every punch sounds the same.
Because otherwise, it's 2D. So you need to make it 3D.
And clothing and everything. I feel like it's more so than visuals.
It's reacting the film. That's the other thing. Like I've done a few of them now, where it's a cool feeling, and that's where it's strange. Talking about acting and being a Foley artist, because when you talk about jackets, someone puts on a jacket.
Yeah.
I'll set up my microphone, and I'll go, okay, so it's a leather jacket. I'll go grab a leather jacket, and I'll put on a leather jacket and mimic the sound of the person putting on a jacket.
Yeah.
And I use that sound. And they go, it's a raincoat. All right, go get a raincoat.
Yeah.
And then I've now got a collection of trinkets. Like, cake lifter is really good for a sword, by the way. Like, if someone draws a sword, a fork and a cake lifter. So you just put the cake lifter like that and then go, ping.
See, how would anyone... There's no book on this stuff. Like, you can't really...
You got to figure it out.
You have to experiment.
There are tutorials out there. You can do Foley courses.
Yeah.
But they're only going to have 20% of the depth. Like, it's not going to cover everything. Like, you'll learn the basics of fire and rain. Like, fire and rain come from the same place in Foley. Like, you get some VHS tape, unspool it, and then you put it in a box and you massage it. And if you massage it slowly, it's fire. It will go... Right?
Yeah.
If you do it fast, it turns into rain.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
I shit you not. If you put it together, you're like, it's VHS tape. They ain't gonna do that sound.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it and go, here's an audio recording of rain, and here's an audio recording of me making rain. Which one's real?
Wow.
And I've fooled people plenty of times with that. They'll even believe, like, they go, how did you record the audio in that environment? I go, I didn't. I made it. Like, I made the audio in that environment, because you can't record the audio in that environment. You can't record in high wind. You can't record in rain.
Wow.
You have to.
You will have to have such a library of, like, other stuff that makes those sounds in your head or written somewhere.
Yeah, the Foley stuff is starting to take up more room than the camera gear.
It's like an art department.
Yeah, okay. But that's what I need. I like the next thing, because that's what I was talking to you before. Like, I feel like you're that step ahead, longer in the game sort of feel, right? Because I've got the production company. I've got most people doing what I can do, except for the festival. If you take and what Misty and I, we need to get people doing what we do so that we can do other big projects. And that's because the thing is, you build a project, you go, well, now it's running. I need someone to run it for me.
Yeah.
But I need to run it the way that I run it, and with the same passion. Because the passion's everything.
Yeah.
Passion is everything. If you're not hungry, then you're not going to care. Like, I don't want anyone get a paycheck anywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I want to make sure people are paid correctly. I want union rate everything. Make sure that everyone is above board and everyone gets what they deserve. But with that said as well, you go, well, I just want to stand back from my project and let it run. I just want to show up and like say good day to everyone, and in 5 years' time, when Main and West have been running for 15 years, I want to just show up and go, hey man, this is great. You guys have done a great job. Yeah. I've just recently been working with Tran in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to say in 5 years' time.
I was a bad guy in this other film.
Then I'll get racially typecast. I'll be like always the racist guy in a movie.
The Aussie guy that plays all these bad guys in these big movies.
Yeah, that'd be fun. But I love the bad guy. I'm a good bad guy.
But it's funny because you're outside, you're not a bad guy. You're the most happiest, happy-go-lucky, quirky kind of human being.
I do the bad guy with people in pubs, and like when you just when you're messing around with people, because you go, I'll do the serious one on you. Yeah. They go, that was really cold and terrible, man. Like you're a horrible person even when you do that. I'm like, I know.
So you're like, I can pull the bad guy card if I want to.
Yeah. Well, I love my monologues. Like, I've got some good monologues, like Samuel L. Jackson, great monologuer, man. Learn some. If you want to be a bad guy, you got to be able to quote that man.
Yeah.
The truth is, you're the weak, and I am the tyranny of evil man.
See, this is exactly why when I saw you, met you, I'm like, dude, why aren't you not an actor?
I don't know.
You had the whole package, and he was just like, I don't know. And I'm like, you just everything, like all the things that all the actors want, it's all already there.
Like, he says in a high pitch, well, I direct movies, I don't know.
I'm like, this is great. I'm going to bags him for Operation Kung Flu.
No, that was a real eye-opener for me. I've never been, like, I've done the presenter thing. Like like here we are today in front of, this place that's about to have a ribbon cut on it. This politician's fantastic, and here's the weather. I've done that sort of thing. But and voice acting though, one of the big thing for voice acting for me is like I'd love to do a character in a cartoon or something like that. I'd love to do that. That's something that I'd really sink my teeth into. Whether it's a serious one or a comedy, I'd love to do that because I've got so many characters that I can do.
Well, what's some characters? Let's hear them.
Oh, I don't know where I start. This happens to me every time. Every time you put me under pressure, I gotta go come up with a character that's really a genuine and sort of noticeable. Right, you gotta find a way into it. But I don't know if my Brixton guy is pretty good. Like, I don't mind him. He'll do it. He knows where the inflections are. He knows where to pause. A little bit. And you got to have. They're my accents though.
You've got to put it in a real Ross. Seriously.
They're not my characters though. I've got other characters. Because I've got to think the scripts that I write. Because when I write scripts, I think of what they sound like. I put an accent on them. I know what their demeanour is, how they walk. I know everything about characters I write about. I know where their scars are on their body. I know everything about them. They're mine. I've made them. I don't know. There's one guy. There's a character I have. He always says, "No doubt." He goes, "No doubt, no doubt."
Hey, so does that mean if you're gonna make your film, like if you're directing your actors, will you pull out these
No.
But do it like this.
Well, the funny thing is, an actor will reference an emotion, and I'll reference a character of the emotion of I felt when I wrote it. And I need to synchronize that and then find the thing that they reference. Yeah. Like the easy go-to is when someone's sad. I need you to reference a sad moment in your life and tie it to this, right? And most actors already know that. They already do that. But there's some strange nuanced situations. I go, well, I start explaining a character to an actor. And when I start explaining a character, I'm storytelling. This is their life. This is what they've gone through. This is how they feel. And if you can synchronize that with an emotion that you've had in your life, great. Who was it? Stanislavski that was doing that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I sort of look at it. I don't know, but writing though and coming up with those storyboards is the juice for me. I really like it, and voiceovers is another juice, and Foley in general, just like creating sounds out of literally nothing.
I have to admit, there's such a very different fields you mash together.
It's strange. It is strange, but Foley is acting.
Yeah,
Foley's acting. Yeah, really is.
And that's why I think you're a natural actor.
Yeah, well, I would always look at a film, even as a child, I'd look at a film and go, how do they make that sound? How do they do that? It's so relevant but so unreal. Like the sound is surreal that it makes you feel like it's real. It has that suspension of disbelief that goes on for it. The same for a plot though in a story. When you forget you're watching a movie, they're my favourite movies.
Yeah.
You forget you're watching a movie, or you forget you're watching a series, right? You're like, oh shit, I'm watching a movie. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you get so invested in characters. Sometimes I get lost that way. I had someone once say to me, like, picture a red star, in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
And they're like, what did you see? I go, well, I see a star that has like magnetic rings coming off it that is, emitting a lot of light, and it's a big red star that you can see the magnetic fields and you can see the solar storms coming off it. And they go, no, I was thinking about a star, like a pointed star. Yeah. You mean, just a red star? Oh, done. Red star. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. It's putting something fancy in my head.
Yeah, and I just look at things that way. I go, yeah, okay, a red star, what it would look like. Okay, so it'd have a gravitational field like that, and it's probably got...
So you've got a huge imagination.
It's crazy. Yeah. I thought everyone thought like that. I don't know.
Only special people.
Yeah, very special. That's what it said on the bus when I went to school, that's for sure.
Ross's special powers.
Oh, no, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a special power. I just think my imagination, I have fun with it. I have fun writing. I have fun making films. And back in the day, I used to love bullshitting to people in pubs. But you can't do that anymore because everyone's got fucking Google. All right?
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to bullshit you? Let me bullshit you. Can I bullshit you?
Yeah.
Let me bullshit you twice. I'll do a simple bullshit on you.
Right.
Let me do a simple bullshit, right? Okay, so I heard right, like when cops are in like high speed pursuits, when they come up to a red light, they've got a button in their car that they push and it makes the light go green. Did you know that?
Oh, look. Is it real?
No, it's all bullshit.
See, you got that. See, you're an actor. Such an actor. He didn't blink. He didn't flinch. And I was like, ooh, this is a good one.
But you can't feed this bullshit to anyone anymore because they go, no, that's actually here. It's actually mentioned as a fable.
But you can still pull it off for the moment. For the moment. I was like, ooh,
yeah, but then they'll fact check you. Yeah. They'll fact check you. Look, I've got another one. Can I do the long bullshit for you? Do you want me to do the long bullshit for you? Okay, so this is a sad story, by the way. I was out. I was single at the time. And I was out shopping, right? And I just learned how to shop. You know, when you're young and you don't know how to shop. Like, you just go, well, I need this and I need that. And it comes an age where you go, well, I need this and I definitely need that. And I don't need that, right? So I filled up my shopping cart and I'm in the shopping line, you know, the queue.
Yes.
And I'm in the queue and this lady kept looking at me. I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at, lady? Like, it's you're making me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because she had like this stare on her. She kept staring at me. I'm like, and then I started thinking, is it me? And, you know, and I'm looking at myself and I'm reflecting on myself. Have I said something? Was I muttering to myself? What was I doing? I thought I hadn't done anything. And as I'm checking through, she goes, look, I'm so sorry to stare. I'm so sorry to stare, but you remind me of someone. And I'm like, oh, well, must have been a good-looking rooster, right? And she goes, well, actually, it was my son. He died in a car accident 2 years ago. I was like, oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. So sorry. She goes, yeah, but you just look spitting image of him. It's just it's amazing. And she goes, look, you know, and she started checking out, and you know, she's filling up a trolley, and she says to me, you know, I know this is weird, but do you mind if when I leave, I go, bye, son, and you say, bye, mum? I go, yeah, sure. And so she left, and she goes, bye, son. I go, bye, mum. You know, and I thought I'd done a good deed for the day. I check my stuff through, and then the checkout chick goes, that'll be $374. I'm like, what? She's like, well, your mother said that you were paying. I'm like, no, you hold on to this. There's a security guard here. Look, here's my license. I'll be back. I'm going to go find this woman. So I go running to the car park and I find her. Yeah. She's loading her car, right? I'm like, you come out. And she's like, oh no. And anyway, so she opens up the back door. She's like getting into the car and I'm pulling her leg, just like I'm pulling your leg right now.
Yep. Ah, come on, Russ. That's such a good story.
It's a long con.
So you know what? That should be in like a scene in one of your scripts somewhere. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's a bullshit story.
You're good at it. That's scary, Ross. This is why you're a filmmaker.
You've got to sell the stories, the details. Does it matter when I went shopping and learned how to shop as a child?
Well,
no.
You know what? Now
it's not relevant.
You've combined all your superhero strength into filmmaking, creative stuff, and now you're teaching the next generation how to pull other people's legs, right?
That's it. But that's what good filmmaking is. When I watch a movie, I want you to pull my leg. I want you to pull the walls over my eyes. I want to forget I'm watching a movie. I want to experience that full moment of escapism. Like when I told you that story, you were in that story.
I was.
Right? I got you into
the
story.
I can see the visuals.
You can see the visual of the story, right? Because I painted it that way, and that's what filmmaking is.
Yeah.
You can paint it. You can paint a picture. Paints 1,000 words, right? If you do and you've got 25 of them each second.
25.
Yeah, 25 frames per second.
Yeah.
You got 20 single frames
right.
to tell. So that's 25,000 words you can say in a second if you think about it that way. Not that you go mathematical
you're making me cerebral.
I've gone existential.
See, this is the thing with you, Ross. You're like not only like a book nerd, but you're a performer. So combined powers, it's just like magnetic for people. That's why you should be a performer.
Yeah, well, I've always been a performer in music as a musician. I've always been a singer. Always, oh, jeez, I did the mic bump first. That's a new one. She's got me under pressure. You should be a star, Ross. You should be a star. No,
let me think about
it. No, I've always been on stage, always been a performer. Certainly at high school and primary school, I was always the guy telling jokes. Always putting on voices on for people. Like before my voice broke, I could do Bart Simpson like that. It's like voice broke and now I've lost my Bart Simpson. So upset. I can still do Barney. I still do Barney and the background guys. I can still do all those. Yeah. Or Smithers. I can do Smithers and Burns. I can still do those ones.
Really?
Yeah. You want to hear Smithers and Burns?
I want to hear.
Okay. What do you think, Smithers? I think women and semen don't mix, sir.
Oh my gosh.
So I can still do that.
Nailed it.
What's the other one? The other one I like doing is Family Guy. Family Guy's a good one. The Cool Whip. The Cool Whip routine. Hey Stewie, say Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Say whip. Whip. Say cool. Call. Say Cool Whip.
Yeah, you need
Cool Whip.
You need an agent, Ross. See, all this talent is like
I don't know if it's talent.
It's leaking out of you.
I don't know if it's talent. It's just me being insane.
It's either Misty or like your assistants, like the audience. We need
Mr. Wade.
We need like other people to kind of like see it as well.
Yeah, no, look, I'm happy to perform it and show that side of me, but yeah, no, look, I'd just like to surround myself with people that are like-minded, and I like to surround myself with other creatives, and those that are awakened to, or waiting to be awakened to be creatives, all right? That's why I want to talk to you about it. Like, you're going to the United States to go and chase the dream, right? I'm going to go be a content maker in the mecca of content creation.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big deal. Like, I'm so proud of you for doing this. Like, this is amazing. I wish you all the best, but I know you're going into the wild. You're literally going to the Wild West.
Yeah.
You literally are doing that. And I think leaving, making sure that Phoenix Eye is running, you've got that so tight, and it's like, it's drum tight. You're surrounded by people that love you, that respect you, that understand you, that care about you. And if you don't know anything about you, if you just see that, that's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, I really need to take a leaf out of that book. I need to. It's not that I don't. Like I love looking after my crew, making sure everyone's comfortable. But it's that next step. Yeah. That next step is harder.
Also, my crew's like, Marie, if you don't go, we're just here all the time. So if you go, at least you can share. So we're gonna have like monthly like online meetups, and I'll have to report back to them on what I found, which is kind of cool. And then they will have to tell me what's been happening. So, you know what? Through this whole situation last 2 years, we're starting to realize how globalized we are. We're able to be in different countries, but still think about the same thing.
Totally.
And still work towards the same thing as well. So I'm pretty happy about
I
that.
learned that in Australia. You can be a multi-city person.
Yeah.
I always have been. I've always had my life in multiple cities at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we live in a world that's possible, except for the whole, COVID problem.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
But that's closely approaching the rearview mirror. It really is. So, the world is literally our oyster. And when I see a new creative, I go, like you were saying before, you see something in someone, you go, well, what's stopping you making the movie, man? What's stopping you? What's stopping you writing that script? What's stopping you from editing that film? And there's always, and the only thing that's stopping you is that negative voice in your head that's telling you that you're worthless. Because the truth is you're not.
Yeah. And how I see it also is that the more people who are like sort of, waking up, that means you have more people that you can hang around and make films and not have to worry that someone's going to like feel sad or depressed or negative about something when everyone's kind of like self-esteem is built up to a level.
Ooh, number two. Yeah, see, normally the guest is first. I'm normally not the one to bump it until later, but not today. The prophecy has been fulfilled.
I balanced it 1-1.
Yeah, that's it. The O has become 1 and the 1 has become O. Okay.
Yeah, so I just love the fact that the more people can really embrace feeling confident about making their first film, then we can enjoy pushing it to making features and, who knows, making stuff in Hollywood or bringing Hollywood to Western Sydney.
Even better.
Yeah.
Going to Hollywood and then bringing it back
Bringing it back. Because for me, I look over there, I'm like, yeah, I get it. But you know what? I want to bring it back to my crew.
I don't know. I see a future here, Maria.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
so
Even you
too.
talking about what you're doing, right? Because like I've got some announcements coming out for Mainland West next year. We're expanding our horizons. We're expanding. I'm expanding the production company. I mean seriously expanding it. There are things that are happening here that Hollywood's already coming here. And I don't know, I get to see, 5 years down the track, here we are doing another podcast, talking about this podcast, going, were we ever so young?
Yeah.
And I'm already old. I'm not that old.
No, fine wine.
Fine wine, that's it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I worry about aging like vinegar,
Like vinegar.
Yeah, just getting sour like I fucking hate everything.
Apparently vinegar's good for you, so just saying.
Yeah, just saying. Antioxidants and, probiotic.
Oh, okay. Well, you're also a health person as well. That's great.
Oh, look, as I said, you don't know if I'm telling the truth or not.
That is true.
That's true. Have I ever told you the 3 rules of Ross?
No.
I've got the 3 rules. There's 3 rules of Ross. I've got 3 rules to life. I think it's 4 rules to life and 3 rules to Ross.
4 rules to life, 3 rules. Why is there an imbalance? 4 and 3.
Because they do. Because you sit yourself in the world. So there's the rules of the world
Okay.
that already exist before you came here, and then you showed up, and now you have your rules that fit into those rules.
Okay, fair enough.
Like for me, the main rules of the world is don't mess with someone's family, don't mess with their friends, and don't mess with their money, and expect the same in return. Right? So don't mess with my money, don't mess with my friends, and certainly don't mess with my family. So like a good example is when people get in a relationship, right? They're like, I don't like this person in my partner's life. I'm like, well, you joined your partner with that person in your life, so you're now breaking one of those rules. You don't tell someone who they can consort with or not, and don't tell them that they can't see a family member, and certainly don't go, oh, I'm just going to borrow this credit card.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That is just not on. So if you live by those 3 things, you'll generally do okay. And if you remember the 4th thing,
what's the 4th thing?
Don't let someone do that to you.
Ah.
Don't let someone mess with your money. Don't let someone mess with your family. And don't someone mess with your friends. Don't let someone tell you that, that person you hang out around, don't like them. Don't like them, you shouldn't hang around that person.
Can I ask, when did you come up with this?
In high school.
Oh.
Yeah, high school. Yeah, rough neighbourhood. You learn the rules of loyalty very quickly. Wow. But the rules of Ross, are very they're hilarious to me because they make a lot of sense.
Okay.
The first rule about Ross is that never, ever take Ross seriously. The second rule of Ross is always take Ross seriously.
Wow, okay.
And the third rule about Ross is that he always talks about himself in the third person.
There you go. You're just like, everyone will be like, what do I say to Ross now? Am I like...
Is he bullshitting me? Are you bullshitting me? Yeah, no, it does happen. Like, are you being serious? Like, no, I am being serious, but not really.
Yeah, you're like you know what? You're like this Australian philosopher, like that's
totally
hidden away in this area. That's sort of a creative and also making up rules for people.
Just making up rules as I go along.
Confuse people.
Yeah. Oh no, but it's true. But they're true though. See, most of life is paradoxical. Most of it is. Do you know that we're all connected?
Yeah.
We're all connected by humanity. We're all connected by our DNA. We're all connected by the fact that we share one planet. Did you know that none of us are connected? There's nothing between us. There's no actual connection. There's nothing that links me to you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is. So everything is paradoxical. Everything I experience is paradoxical. You have to try really hard, but be sure just to take it easy.
Wow.
But it's true.
And this is another side of Ross.
Yeah, the philosopher.
The philosopher.
Yeah, the philosopher that gets stoned. Oh,
there-
no, the philosopher stoned.
The philosopher that gets stoned. The philosopher stoned. He's also a comedian too.
Yeah, no, sorry, I misspoke there. Yeah. No, but that's it, all right? Like, if you're just a cool person, you'll invite cool people. And when someone's horrible, like, you just understand that in a long enough argument, because we run into conflicts in our lives, some bigger than others. But the thing that I've figured out is that in an argument where one person's the asshole, the longer the dialogue goes on, the more exposed the asshole becomes.
Yeah.
So you just got to stick to your guns, man.
That's
Like,
right.
if you know that you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
Even though the whole world may be against you. Making a film about racism, right? Ballsy.
Yeah.
But you knew.
Yeah.
You had flack about that.
Yeah.
Script.
Yeah.
But you knew.
Yeah.
But you knew.
Deep down, I was like, you know what? I know this topic's really serious, but I want people to access this topic and not feel like it's not for them to think about. So then people watch it, they can at least go, oh, it is a topic, but at least I'm not cringing about it, but at least I can have a dialogue about it. So other people who are Asians can watch and go, oh yeah, I get it.
I get what the problem is.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. But again, though, it comes back to that leadership idea. See, I've got the theory I have about leadership is that when you're onto something new, you're at the front and you're literally navigating into the unknown, the darkness, if you will. And everyone that's following you sees you.
Yeah, that's right. So whatever you do, whatever you feel, they'll see it. Yeah.
It's going to be, it will have a wave effect. It will have an effect. Your negativity will wash over your team. Your positivity will wash over your team. The fact, the worst thing you can say as a leader is, where are we going? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing you could ever say as a leader. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. In terms of navigation, sometimes it's good to go to your 2IC. Like, what do we do about this? I don't know, man. We've got to figure this out. So we've run out of money at this point. We've got 2 days of shooting left. All right. Don't tell the crew just now, but we need to figure this out. I need to either get more money into this. Don't panic them yet, and we'll get it sorted.
Yeah.
Right? And that's leadership. You are the fisheye lens that is into the darkness.
Yeah.
Your vision is beyond peripheral. It's actually protective in nature. You're looking left and right to make sure that your people are okay.
Okay. Yeah. And I think also like how to also, as much as you are the leader, but then there are moments where you allow your team members to navigate. That's what I love as well. Because sometimes I get tired of like, I can't think. And then I know one of my team members like, you know what, I'll make the decision. Is that okay? I'm like, you know what, we've worked through so much stuff. You can take over. And they do. And they do such a fantastic job. And we go back and we reflect and we're like, guys, good job, man. Like seriously, at that moment, I wasn't able
Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
Couldn't have done it without you. And I think that comes down to, even though you're the leader, that doesn't mean you're always at the helm. Just because you're the leader, the captain's not always at the helm. Sometimes you go, this requires a more nuanced personality to deal with the situation. And that is not me at the moment. Because I've been feeling the friction at the front of this helm for longer than others. So I need to take a step back and allow someone to take control. And for that's why when I was going on your set, I was like, oh, I hope she's a different kind of director so I can see how another director works. You're like, you're a very similar director. Okay, that's great. That's reinforcing in a lot of ways, but I wanted to contrast. Why couldn't you have been a bitch and a horrible person? What's going on with that?
I've worked on sets where I've worked with directors who are like that. I'm like, wow, what's going on in your head? Or something like, oh, and then,
what did it take?
But then sometimes I go, oh, maybe they're just lacking of understanding of humanity, because I feel like directing is an understanding of how to, work with people, and sometimes their capabilities are not there yet because there's a barrier, ego.
Ego's a big thing, right? Ego's totally a big thing. I've experienced it more in TV than film, where a lot of barking in TV. And, that's not necessary. You could have just said, like, I remember I was going through a security checkpoint, for an event, and the producer just starts berating this security guy, going, oh, that's not the right pass. You have to go to the other entrance, you know. He goes, but this is all passes. He goes, yeah, but this is the normal entry. You have to go to where the normal vehicles for media park. And it was quite, for me, like, in the back seat, I'm like, well, that sounds logical. Yeah. So it sounds totally logical. But I just watched this guy just literally rip this man's face off for no reason. And then carry out what he advised to do in the beginning. You know, like, what the expenditure of energy.
Yeah, it's such a waste.
What a waste.
To show that maybe you have power, it's not needed.
Yeah, now, like, I look at you and I go, yeah, if you talk to me like that, you would expect. I reckon I can exceed your volume. Just saying. Just saying, man.
Flex.
Heavy metal vocalist. Don't shout at me like that because I'll teach you how to shout.
Yeah.
Dude. But certainly not to yell at someone that is at the subordinate level where they have to put up with your shit.
Yeah.
I just go, it's not necessary. It's an unnecessary flex. Yeah. But in film, I don't see that so much. You will see it some directors, and I've heard terrible stories here and there. But generally, the problem is it's hard to find a shitty director in Western Sydney.
Yeah.
It really is.
Actually, it's quite hard because everyone's so resourceful.
Yeah.
And they know that word travels around. Yeah. So it's important to make sure everyone's, happy on your shoot. Yeah. Yeah,
I've the only shoots I've ever been on where it was a bit, maniacal in that way, diabolical, if you will, has been shoots in the city. When I've done shoots out west, and you might argue and go, well, it's a lower budget film or whatever. I'm like, well, that's not actually true either. Like, I've done some high budget stuff out here as well.
That's right.
That's been just fine. So it comes down to that personality and wanting to work. Like, if I didn't like my role, why am I doing it? Did I get to a point where I've been at the focal point for so long? I'm just so abrasive because I've just been hit by a sandstorm of lack of understanding my entire creative career. Yeah. What drove you? Like, because you put it before. What's going through your head, mate?
Yeah. It's like, why are you still continuing?
Why are you doing this?
But I think it's also there's I've noticed because like they hit a point where sometimes I find creatives go, okay, I got this gig, I'm in this role, but the grass is greener on some other side.
Yeah.
So in this role, I'm not feeling it, and I'm acting like a douche because I'm just not happy. But
because I'm better than this.
Yeah. So and then that sort of energy sort of ripples off into the set, which then makes the set so unbearable.
And then everyone else hates it.
Yeah. And in fact, they're not going to get any further because word of mouth, will travel around.
Yeah, and it does. It does. Like most of the conversations I've had off the Pagey train, like because we're on the Pagey train at the moment. Most of these conversations I had off the Pagey train, where you go, "Do you know this director?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard about the person. I've heard about that person." But with that said, that's the sort of politics that are involved in making film. Yeah. What about the training that comes into making film? Like, you can't just jump in and being a action star. Like, you have kicked butts on multiple continents on film. How does one go about that?
Oh gosh, like I try to do it as effortless as possible, but I don't actually train a lot. The thing is, I've got to a point where I figured out how the camera correlates with movement, and because I edit, I can figure out how much room I can do things, or whoever I'm working with can do things. So in a way, it's good for me to be able to have that capabilities to edit, direct, and be in front of the camera, so that I don't expend a lot of my energy because I only got so much as well. I'm not a trained athlete, but mind you, I've worked with trained athletes as well, but sometimes they might not understand how their movement corresponds on the camera, so it's a sort of give and take. And sometimes
you whip my ass pretty good.
But the good thing is you knew shots as well, so which was really fun to work with Ross because he knows shots. So he'll be like, "Was that good?" He'll ask for.
I know if it's in frame or not. Yeah. I know if it's in frame.
Yeah, so so which is great. With a lot of people don't, so which means we'll have to mold them to.
Because I'll think, "Oh, I've done the action. Did you get that?" Yeah. You'll be like, no, because you jumped out of the frame.
Yeah.
You need to be on your mark, dude.
Yeah, but the good thing is we're able to bounce. Yeah. So it's not like, what, I have to do it again. It's like, oh yeah, got it. Let's do it. Because I've worked with some actors who be like, what? But I did it already. I'm like, no, but you need to get in the frame. But yeah, I did it. No, but the camera's not catching and you have to explain for 2 minutes. And they go, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Breaking through. Like you've had moments where, making short films and getting commissioned for films. Like I remember the first time I got commissioned for a film, I'm like, I fucking did it! Yeah. And you're like, actually, they didn't give me enough money. I had to put $2,000 of my own money into this. Yeah. And I'm actually still at a loss. Oh, thank God, because I would have been at a big loss if I didn't get that funding.
That's right.
But there's that moment you break through, but then there's that moment where you break through. And I think just touching on because you've done things that have been on the scene, things that are on TV, things for the ABC.
Yeah.
What did it take for you to get noticed? What was the sink oil for you? What was that moment where you've gone, shit, man, they finally fucking paid attention?
It's a really weird thing. I'll tell you what, when you get there, you don't feel it's there. It's always like it's pushed a bit further, right? Sorry.
That's right.
Oh, my.
I'll take distraction. Have a cough. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pagey Train. You hit the notifications button and like and subscribe.
Yeah, so when you get to a point, it's like, oh, I'm here. I've got funding. What am I doing? Okay, great. But at the same time, like, you're so focused on doing a good job and you're making sure that you get a good outcome that you don't actually enjoy that moment where you're like, I got it. It's only when you finish it then you can, okay, celebrate. And especially having like made in the West, that was my time and my cruise time to actually enjoy My Mother the Action Star. Because prior to that, we just made it. And we
that
just
was a really good film.
And we're like, oh, we get to see it on the big screen. Hey guys, you want to go for kebabs after? Like, really to celebrate.
Yeah, totally.
So, I don't know. Like, it's a bit of a hard one. And I get asked to do different things. Like, when they ask me to do doco, I'm like, you've done docos? I'm like, I've done stuff, not docos. So I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And see where it goes. That's it.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. It's an interesting question, though. What is breaking through? Like, is there a reason to breaking through? Like, because there's obviously economic reasons to do it. There's fame reasons to do it that feed into the economic reasons. But what about your reasons?
Like, when I got invited to work with Jackie Chan, who, prior to meeting Jackie Chan, I made a doco called The Quest of Jackie Chan.
This is the first time I met you, actually. Like, years and years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was at Diversity Arts, man.
Oh.
And I got to see a special about you. And it talked about your training with Jackie Chan, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like...
This is like 5 years, 6 years ago, something like that.
It was probably 8 years when I did the project. Because I was
Oh, wow. It was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Continue.
Probably eight or plus now. And I only did that project because I was like, oh man, I just did an action film, but it's going nowhere. And then someone said to me, why don't you just go find Jackie? I'm like, what? I'll just call him up because he's my uncle. And someone says, he lives in Canberra. Why don't you go for a road trip, get your camera, make some documentary thing?
Yeah, sure.
And that's what I did. I just sort of like went around and I actually found his place. And it was funny. I went to Canberra and I had my camera. I'm like, hey guys, I'm in Canberra. I don't know where Jackie lives, but I'm in and there's some guy just pops out from the hey, I know where Jackie lives. He just lives down the road from me. And I'm just like literally on my camera. I'm like, yeah, sure. He goes, yeah, he is. He comes into my camera. He goes, he just lives down this street. You should come check it out. And I did. And I ended up like finding his house. And how do I know it's his house? It has JC right in the driveway, right? And it was like,
of course it does. And
I was filming it. I was filming in the windows. You can't get in, of course. But I was like, oh my gosh, it's Jackie's place. Now, 8 years later, when Jackie came to Australia, he asked, I think it was Screen New South Wales, if Maria Tran could be a part of his production because he's been seeing all these weird vlog videos on YouTube.
Oh, really? Is this how this came about?
Yeah, because
amazing.
I was chucking all these things. Hey, I'm trying to find Jackie. I'm going to Brisbane. Anyone who loves Jackie, come talk to me. And I did that to every state. And that was like prior to, meeting Jackie. And when I did, so I got a chance to work with Jackie. It was surreal but at the same time I was like, is it real? Because I didn't expect to meet him.
This sounds insane though, but you got to work with Jackie Chan. Yeah.
And then you know what?
Far out, dude. After
the shoot, he invited me to go on the road trip to Canberra.
Yeah, wow.
To visit that house of his.
Wow.
And he allowed me to film it with my camera.
Yeah.
Him opening the door after like half a decade, going into their house, and it's his parents' house, and going down to the basement, seeing all his posters and his Mitsubishi car. Like, I was like, and seeing him feel very touched that this was his part of his home. Because he was like, I think he was Australian citizen for like in his teens.
Yeah. So you got to understand. I there's a lot of films of his that I absolutely love. I must say, one of them's Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Where because when you're a kid, you go, he does all his own stunts, and then it's not until an adult you really realize what that means.
Yes.
Like he does all of his own stunts. Like when he jumps from building to building with no safety net, jumps to a helicopter rope.
Yeah.
No, like that's 6 floors down, no net, nothing. Just the rope.
Yep.
And he gets it.
Yeah.
Right? And then it was on Rumble in the Bronx. He jumped off a hovercraft, I think it was. No, sorry, he jumped onto a hovercraft.
And he broke his ankle.
And then they put a cast on him.
It looks like a sock.
And then they put a sock of his shoe over it, right?
Yeah.
You're like, and he goes, yeah, but we have to keep making the movie.
Yeah.
And then you see him do interviews. He's like, yeah, so how many bones have you broken, Jackie? You're like, I think about 100.
Yeah, it's about 200 now.
Is it about 200 bones he's broken? He goes, I pretty much broke. The only bones I haven't broken are the ones in my ears.
He's like, I'm so, wow.
Yeah, shit, dude. But there's an excellent documentary out there about his house in Hong Kong. He bought a warehouse and he made all these secret compartments in it, and I like, if I ever had $100 million, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Like he is just such a, I idolize him in so many ways.
He's so cool. Like seriously, like when he came to Sydney, he wanted to go to Bunnings. So he's got his driver.
Jackie Chan at Bunnings.
Yeah, like
that's awesome.
Go to Bunnings to find material to do his fight scenes, and people are like, is that Jackie? Nah, it can't be Jackie, right?
Not here.
And when I went to Canberra, I got the chance to like go with him with his family, and like literally he would just go to a cafe, sit there. People are like, is that Jackie? And he still looks like Jackie wearing like stuff from the 80s and 90s. So he had the big glasses, the really fluoro clothing. So it's obvious it's Jackie, you know. And it was just like, wow, he's still like got that essence. He's very childlike.
Yeah.
Too. So whenever we go to places, he'll be like touching the table, and he'll be like rolling on it just to see how sturdy it is.
Could I do a stunt on this table?
It was just ridiculous. I'm like, wow, Jackie, it's just like he's just not old. He just is very youthful, and he's got a very playful vibe. So I'll be on set, and he'll go around and give people cookies. And I remember he came up to me, he's like, open. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want any. As I said, I don't want any. That cookie's already in my mouth. Thanks, Jackie. Yeah. Thanks for the cookie. You're so quick. I didn't even see you. Just threw a cookie in my mouth.
Yeah, no, he's a really cool hombre, man. Like, he's a really, really cool dude. And for someone as well that, speaking Chinese and then getting into like the mainstream at that point in history, like, holy hell. Yeah. That is just an achievement on its own. To wrestle against what we thought as normal content, like, because you can see the transfer now, right? Like, there's certainly a massive shift towards foreign content. Subtitles are more acceptable. I remember there was a period where, like, even in my family home, like, a subtitle film would become, and be like, nah, not doing that. You got to be able to listen and watch the pictures. That's how you do it. But you come up to all the way to a South Korean film like Parasite, which is a subtitle film. It was ironically that same year was a subtitle film that won at Made in the West, and there was a shift in that. I've got a crazy theory about that. By the way.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Well, because we're all in workplaces, right? And you can't always have your sound on. Yeah. So you get used to reading subtitles because you go, well, I've got this Netflix thing going on. I need what happens on Game of Thrones. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, no, okay. I'm working.
This is Ross's theory, by the way.
Oh, well, look, I don't want to go too much into it, but if you ever have a computer, make sure that no one else can see it wherever your workplace is. And remember your hotkeys, kids. Hotkeys is everything. On a Mac, it's Command-Tab, back to Office straight away.
You're obviously a great worker for other companies.
Oh man, I felt sorry for this chick the other day. I saw her at Woolies, right? And the self checkout, how there's normally like 6 bays in a square or in a line, whatever the design of the Woolies is. And there's always a person in there for the red light, when you can't scan something or it doesn't recognize the weight, whatever malfunction may happen. And I watched this lady. She was walking back and forth in that square. And then when someone walks up to you, especially in COVID, right, you're like, oh, make a way. Make way. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. I want to make sure. And hey, she works here, man. She's on a beeline. But then she walked right up to me, did a about turn, walked back. But then she did it again, and I'll get all out of the way again. I thought, what the fuck are you doing, lady? Like, did we just do this? Yeah. So you're clearly not leaving. But then she kept looking to her left as she got towards me. And I realised, your boss yells at you a lot. And you're looking for your boss. And when your boss shows up, You make out like you've got a tick in your hand that you're fixing a fault.
I see.
So your boss is a real asshole. That's what I've got out of this.
Aww.
You know,
it's not about you, Ross. There's another story happening.
That's right. There's always another story happening behind the scene, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's strange how people do things like that. You know, I got to make this work for me right now, and I don't want someone to yell at me. And I think when I look at the film industry, you think about that, and you go, I've been in so many situations in TV where someone's yelled at someone. You're like, man, you didn't need to do that to that person. It wasn't necessary. What you should have done was gone, man, you missed this here. Yeah. Right? Start on, like, the way I look at it is start on the negative. This is how it's shit. This is how it's absolute shit. It's dog shit. It's awful. It's unairable. It's shit. Right? Be really negative about it. But then go, but man, if you only did it this way and changed it later, and if you did this again, what I would advise is go this way. And all you got to do, and then you can pull focus on it this way. Don't have a light in the background so you don't get overexposed. This is how you do it, bro. Yeah. All right? I know you're stuffed up here, but you got potential and you're okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Finish on the positive. Because if you just grill someone, they go, fucking ass.
Yeah, and they're never gonna like get better. They always feel a bit like tense around you. They're
just gonna walk back and forth and making out like they're doing work.
That's right.
They're not actually it's a waste of time. They're just not being productive.
No.
And then it's not both for any party.
No, that's
right. Because they're having a bad time. You're having a bad time, and you're not meeting your KPIs.
That's right.
You know, just be nice. But sometimes it's harder. It's easier said than done. We all have our baggage of some kind, but most of us start this filmmaking as a side hustle. We always have a job, and we try to get a creative job that feeds into the job that we're doing, and then at some point we go, just merge it all together.
Yeah. And
that's the dream, is the merge and hey, I want to go viral. That's what I want. I need to go viral, not in a COVID way. It's a bad way to go viral. I mean, in an internet way, you want to go viral. But, I worry about those things in the world and thinking about how, you know, breaking through and then leaving your legacy. It's got to be done by positivity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely got to be done by positivity. But look, hey, you've got so much content out there. Where can we find your content?
I think if you just Google it.
Just Google Maria Tran. You'll find it.
Or just go to mariatran.co, my website, which I've put together so that people can check it out. Yeah. Or Phoenix side.
You have upgraded it recently.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. I was like, I need to put everything together so that people know what I'm doing, and especially when I go overseas.
Because I saw the changeover of your website. Yeah. Because I remember logging into it a couple of months ago, and now it's different. I'm like, oh, she's got a spruce up. It's got a bit of a spruce up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always refreshing to update your website.
Oh, it is. It's like, oh wow, it's like as if you just wore some new clothes after these ones have been worn for like many years.
Some of my websites have really bad BO. I'm just saying. They need a makeover. They need a bit of a change. Some of them are quite vibrant though. Some of them are quite vibrant and finding interesting and new ways to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think also for you and for people like us, like when we put our energies out there, people just naturally want to work with us. Do you get that? People just
all the time.
Yeah, people just like, I don't know what it is. I just want to work with you. It's like, okay, let me figure out how we can make it work. And we have to sit there and figure out the piece of puzzle into all our stuff that we're doing, which is kind of cool.
I have this terrible thing that I say to corporate people. Go, man, I just want to work with you. And I go, how much is it worth to you? How much do you want to work with me?
I like that.
How bad? Tell me how bad, and I can be that bad for you, baby.
I'm like, what do you mean?
Well, like, do you want to go like existential on your credit card, or do you just want to make out you're a cheapskate? I don't know.
You tell me.
You tell me.
I love how you give them that sort of range of creativity and how to pitch back.
Yeah, that's it. Like, because we're always pitching, right?
Yeah.
What they say in sales, ABC, always be closing. Right, always be closing.
That's
in
right.
filmmaking, kids, always be pitching. ABP, always be pitching. But there comes a point in your career you go, I'm over pitching. You know who I am. You know what I can do.
Exactly.
You know what the fee is. There's no negotiation here. You either want my skill set, or you don't.
Yeah.
You don't want it.
And I think for us creatives, like for me, I'm flexible. There's certain people I'm like, okay, you don't have the resources. I'm happy to help you.
Oh, totally.
And there's people who are assholes. And you're like, nah, putting that fee down, man.
Yeah, no, I remember that job. You're a dick.
Yeah.
You ain't getting no discount, bro.
Nah. You're like, nah. Not worth my energy if I have to deal with your kind. That's it. I'm just going to make it like standard.
Oh, the creatives are the best. They're the ones I give the biggest discounts to. And by the way, guys, reach out, man. Reach out to Phoenix Eye Productions. Reach out to Still Searching Productions.
That's right.
We're totally negotiable. Like, hey, if you're corporate, understand that we're going to provide a pristine product that you're going to love. But hey, if you're a creative that's got a web series idea, get us in touch, man. We'll give you a good deal. We won't hose you over. You'll get a good deal. You totally will. I won't say we'll do it for free. Sometimes we do, but I won't say that we will. But I definitely say that
every project we sort of weigh out.
You got to weigh it up. Yeah, no. What's your budget? What do I lose out of it? How much time do I have to give? Does that encroach on my corporate making money?
That's right.
And that's usually the no. If I go, oh no, I've got jobs on, bro. I can't do this week. I'll tell you what. If you postpone to February, I can do it.
That's right.
I can't do it this month because I got I'm booked.
Yeah.
I'm booked.
Yeah.
I'm booked with paying clients. So that's what I'm saying. Go contact Teresa. It's Phoenix Eye, man.
Emily and Teresa.
And Emily as well, right? Like these guys, I've got to tell you, I work with them on like 3 or 4 projects now, whatever it is. Absolutely fantastic. Totally approachable. And while we're at it, check out Still Searching Productions. We're awesome as well.
Yeah.
We need to do more collaborations, clearly.
Totally. Once I come back, I'll be like, hey, Ross, you know that there's this big client over here and they need you to do all these other things.
If you need a guy to operate machine guns and blow some shit up and say some heinous shit in Las Vegas, I am your guy.
And the great thing is you do have the skills and qualifications.
I know how to do it all, yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I can do nice and fire movement and operate weapons proficiently.
Is there anything you don't do, Ross?
I'm really bad at the dishes. I'm really bad at... Actually, I'm not really bad at cooking. I recently did a beef Wellington. I did beef Wellington recently.
Was it good? Did Misty like it?
She loved it, man. And I loved it as well. What I figured out, a beef Wellington is just a really fancy name for a really nice pie.
Oh, okay. There you go. Done.
It's good. Excuse me. I'm cracking myself up. No, I chose the beef Wellington because I wanted to challenge myself because I've been doing these roasts and doing all these other bits of cooking, and I thought of beef Wellington. Everyone says it's really hard. Turns out it's not. Just follow the instructions. You can't go wrong.
Exactly.
You can't go wrong.
Done. At least you can tick that off your bucket list.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've done the beef Wellington. I've done a roasted ham. I've done a roasted chook. Done the smoked chook, and Misty does the beef jerky, and I've made a whole bunch of during my COVID therapy, if you like, has been limoncello.
Gee.
And mandarincello. So
have your cookbook happening.
I'll show you before you go. Like, you will be surprised. I've made like $500 worth of limoncello.
Oh my gosh. As I said, is there anything you don't do? It's obviously there's nothing that is left.
I don't play basketball well.
Okay.
I'm not very good at that. I'm good at footy, good at soccer. Can't do basketball.
Don't like it's a bit excessive, the bounce.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. I'm just a total qualmby at it. I'm not very good at it. There's plenty I'm not good at. But hey, there's plenty I'm good at, and there's some things that I really excel at. And as they say in Batman, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. All right.
That's right.
But sometimes we do. Just reach out to SSP and hey, we can do a deal. But once again, check out Phoenix Eye Productions. Maria Tran, thank you so much for being on the show and being my first guest back after COVID.
Thank you. It was great. Great chat. Wow.
Yeah, look, I can't wait for us to run into each other in the future, which I know is an absolute certainty. It's just how the universe works. But guys, you've been watching the Pagey Train. Don't forget to go and check out Maria Tran's content at Phoenix Eye Productions, and check out mariatran.co. And also, if you've been enjoying the show, and welcome back to the Pagey Train, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the little subscription button, and of course, tick like. And if you're really having a good time, do some comments, man. Do some comments. Get our viewership up there. You can find us on Anchor. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple iTunes, Amazon, and of course, you can find us on iHeartRadio and our favorite platform, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is the message here. Thank you very much. You've been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. My chair broke right there.
I know. I saw